Good morning. On behalf of the Craig School of Business and California State University, Fresno, I would like to welcome you to the 2020 Preview Day. My name is Dr. Olson Buchanan. I am the Interim Dean of the Craig School of Business, and we are very excited to have our future alumni with us today so we can talk more about the Craig School of Business. Later, you will be meeting our Interim Associate Dean, Dr. Antonio Avalos, as well as our lead advisor, Catherine Kukar, and our Director of Student Professional Development, Michaela Ford. But first, I'd like to give you an overview of the Craig School of Business. And we're going to turn to a PowerPoint slide to get us started. The Craig School of Business has a rich history. It was actually established in 1928. And in 1992, it received the very first naming endowment in the entire the entire California State University system for the Craig School. It was named after Sid Craig, a former alumni of the business school, who was an entrepreneur and who wanted to pay it forward to students like you. Our mission at the Craig School of Business is to educate and inspire a diverse student body and to support economic development in Central California and beyond. We have outstanding faculty who have national and international reputations for their scholarship as well as their teaching. And they are here at the Craig School because they care about teaching and because they care about our students and our community. With our outstanding faculty, our amazing staff, and our students' success, together we have been able to achieve a very high level of accreditation. By focusing on research and focusing on education, we have been able to achieve what is known as the gold standard of accreditation of business schools, AACSB. It is considered to be the hardest, most rigorous accreditation, and we were the first in the CSU to achieve it, and we've maintained it for over 50 years. In fact, fewer than 5% of all business schools worldwide have achieved this accreditation. So if you come to the Craig School of Business, you will be in great company. We offer 3 degree programs to our undergraduate students. The first is a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, and you actually start as an entering freshman. You start as a pre-business student, and then later on you get to pick which area of specialization within business on which you would like to focus. Our second degree is a Bachelor of Arts in Economics, and that is housed in our Department of Economics. And then our third degree is relatively new. It is a Bachelor of Arts in Fashion Merchandising, and that is housed in our Department of Marketing. We do also have a graduate program, an MBA, and that is offered in both a traditional and an executive format. So going back to that focus on business, the business major, as I mentioned, you begin, if this is your area of interest where you would like to major, you start as a pre-business major, and then later you select the area of specialization, or as we call them, options. And we have 11 options for our business majors. And those 11 options are housed in 5 different departments. First one being the Department of Accountancy, that offers the option in accounting. Our second department is Finance and Business Law, and it offers an option in finance, as well as an option in international business, and one in real estate and urban development. And I want to point out, if our pictures are blocking your screen, you do have the ability to move us out temporarily. I apologize for that, but we will be making this information available to you later as well. The third department is Information Systems and Decision Sciences, and it offers an option in Computer Information Systems. And its newest offering is an option in Data Analytics. This is a really hot area right now in the field of business, so you might consider that one as well. The Department of Management has options in management, general management, as well as human resource management and entrepreneurship. And finally, our marketing department offers the last 3 options available for business majors, and that would be marketing, and then a specific area within sports marketing, and also supply chain management and logistics. So how do we educate and inspire a diverse set of students? The Craig School of Business is very much focused on high quality education experiences for our students. So we invest our resources into the practices that have been demonstrated to make the biggest difference for our students. And these are termed high impact practices. This is a very popular buzzword right now, and maybe you've experienced it as you've looked at other universities as well. High impact practices are active learning practices, meaning that it involves a high level of engagement. It promotes deep learning, and research has demonstrated that students learn a great deal from these experiences, in part because it has such a high level of student engagement. And the reason we focus on these practices in particular is because it's associated with all these positive outcomes for our students, including higher rate of success in terms of graduation, and then post-graduation success. So being better prepared for your career and having a greater success within your career. So what are these high impact practices that we're talking about? Some of them are going to seem familiar to you, or at least you've heard about them before, including we have a formal mentorship program. So what that means is our students get paired with a local business professional who provides expertise and guidance over a semester long to give them additional insight into their future career. We also have our award-winning internship program, which Michaela will also be able to share information about as well. In this program, we have hundreds of students every year who are embedded in businesses in the local community where they're able to apply the knowledge they're learning in their coursework to a field setting. Another high impact practice is service learning. Service learning is a unique experience that it's a marriage between the course and a nonprofit in our local community where students volunteer, but they volunteer in a way where they're applying their knowledge from the course to a nonprofit. So they might be applying their marketing knowledge to help support a nonprofit communicate about its resources or communicate about its need for additional fundraising, for example. Another high impact practice that we just implemented last year is the CSB Student Store. This is the first all-run student store in the Cal State system, and our store focuses on selling Craig School merchandise, which we hope you'll be able to take advantage of next year. And our students are entirely responsible for its inventory, financial management, and all systems associated with retail management. And then another high impact practice is our research program, which specifically is the honors program. And this is the opportunity for a student to create new knowledge by writing an original honors thesis. And also, as a result, students would graduate with special distinction and honors from the Craig School of Business. And this is something that would show up on your transcript. We have other high impact practices as well, including a student management investment fund. And if you look at this picture here on the left side of your screen, you will see our trading room in action. So it has an electronic ticker tape you can see at the upper part of the picture. And our students manage nearly $5 million of funds. They manage, this is real money, so they manage through these finance classes, and they do extremely well. Last year, our students received a higher rate of return than the S&P 500 did. In fact, their rate of return was around 40%. So that's a very exciting way to apply finance knowledge and really hands-on. Another way that we have high impact practices is with our accounting students through the VITA program. The VITA program allows our accounting students to prepare tax returns for community members who may be in the lower income or maybe less prepared to work on their own income taxes. And in fact, last year, our students prepared 1,500 tax returns that generated $2 million in refunds. Another high impact practice is our Craig International program. Our Craig International program has been around for 20 plus years, and this is actually set up to provide international global experiences for our students. So this might be in the form of a traditional exchange program where you go for a semester or 2 semesters, or we have a number of classes that are led by our Craig faculty in the summer. So it's a shorter term experience, but it allows more and more of our students to learn in a different global context. And every year, hundreds of students are able to participate. And then we have our student hatchery, which is a unique experience. It is an opportunity for students to launch their own business while they're students. Students compete by writing business proposals, and if they are in the student hatchery, their business is incubated, if you will. They have office space, they have additional legal support, they have graphic designers who can help them set up their logos and communications, and it's an opportunity to get some additional support if you're planning to open your own or launch your own business. Of course, there are many other ways that our students can become engaged with the community and with their profession, including through student organizations and competitions. We have a long history of success and recognition for our student organizations. In fact, some of them have been noted as superior chapters throughout the nation, and some are frequently in the top 10 of chapters across the entire nation, as well as having competed in different competitions based on their knowledge. Some have placed #1 in the nation or in the top 3. It gives an opportunity for our students to network, to develop opportunities with the business community, and to have a better understanding and preparation for their chosen career. And I'd like to point out that there is a student organization for every CSB major and option. There's a place for you, believe me. There's an organization that suits your interests and will give you that additional exposure. Of course, financial support is a key consideration as well. And I just want to point out that the Craig School has a number of scholarships that are dedicated to students who are continuing in the Craig School of Business. So yes, we do offer scholarships for entering freshmen and entering transfer students, but we also have some scholarships that are dedicated for students after they arrive. So you can continue to apply every year while you are here. So the Craig School of Business is dedicated to providing high quality educational experiences to empower the business leaders of tomorrow. And we hope that you will be a part of this next fall. So we are going to be moving into questions and answers soon, but first, and we have a number of ways that you can contact us, including our recruitment counselor, Leanne Vang, and Catherine Kukar, who you will be hearing from shortly. But first, we're going to show you one of our videos. We have a video on one of our high impact practices, the student hatchery. So Associate Dean Avalos will be sharing this hatchery video. And as I mentioned, this is where students have the opportunity to launch their own business with a great deal of support from local entrepreneurs and legal experts, etc. So are we ready to?
The hatchery at the Lyle Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, it's a very unique place here at Fresno State. The hatchery provides students with an opportunity to come and test their ideas and see how feasible their ideas are. We work with students from across campus, so any student on campus can come and participate, and the resources that they have available help them in their journey of trying to launch their companies.
So the hatchery has really helped me succeed in a way of just having a spot, honestly, for me to come and fully be an entrepreneur. I think sometimes being a student entrepreneur, and I started my company actually out of the dorm room way back in my freshman year, and just being able to be in a spot that I can come and have my own thoughts and just have my own place to really just be my company has helped me immensely. It's just a really empowering environment to be around.
I'm a return student. I transferred in and I have to support my family. My wife and my kids, they work for me at the business, and so we have to generate enough money to be able to support to live. I pay for all my own school, but I really gravitated towards the opportunities that they allow me here. Printer, copying, fax, internet access. Everybody here knows somebody that knows somebody that can help with any aspect, because even though my business is different, there's certain aspects of business that are all the same.
I actually got to tour the Lyle Center my senior year in high school from a small business class, and I was immediately hooked when I toured the Lyle Center and found out that students that have their own businesses actually could have their own office.
I would definitely not be where I am with my company right now if I didn't have the hatchery. I would still be packing up orders out of my very small room.
We all put in so much extra time. It's more than just a club or an activity here, It's a family, and it's also a workplace, and it's a school, and it's everything.
This shows credibility. I'm not just working from, my living room. This is legitimate. This is my business.
We're so excited it worked. So for our participants, if you look at the bottom of your screen, there's an icon that says Q&A, and you can type questions to us, and we would be very happy to answer them. And it could be, know that we don't want you to share any personal information like your IDs or anything like that. But if you have questions about the school or the program or the majors, now would be a great time to ask them. And if you're not ready with them now, we could try our luck with a second video. So that was the first one on the hatchery.
Ready for the second video? Yeah. Here it goes.
I think I've had probably about 1,500 students come through my class, which kind of equates down to about 22,000 hours of community service. One of the things that we're trying to do is we're trying to focus on sustainability for the organization. So what we try to do is we try to do a project, a managerial type project, that's going to have a sustainable impact upon the organization, something that's going to make their jobs easier in the future. And then they can use those tools in the future to continue to keep the organization running properly.
First of all, the labor is always invaluable at a nonprofit. There's always a shortage of people to do things that you need done. I don't see us running out of a need anytime soon. And this particular semester, the group that I had, they ran our very first Dog Trainer Expo.
With the Dog Trainer Expo, our goal was to get at least 10 to 15 trainers to come out. We were trying to get vendors, we wanted to get raffle prizes, all these different kind of donations. So what we did, we'd have to call trainers, we had to call vendors, we had to explain the event, what we were doing, and it was kind of difficult because it was the very first event.
Overall, it was very successful. We've decided to do it twice a year. We're going to do one in the spring and one in the fall going forward. It works.
It was a huge kind of like 180 for me. Like, I'm super interested in like event planning now. I'm super interested in nonprofits. So I'm totally open and would love to work for a nonprofit in the future.
Currently, I have a group of students working as account executives for the Central California Blood Center. They were able to host a blood drive and work on a blood drive out at the Clovis community at Sierra Vista Mall.
I think one of the biggest things I got from working with CCBC is realizing how big these sort of operations are, and I just never realized how much work goes into all of these mobile blood drives and keeping all of this going. So one of the biggest things it's done for me is shown me like the complexity and the scale of running such a big nonprofit as this. And it's also helped me realize the importance of giving back to your community and how important even just donating blood is.
I think service learning gives students a unique perspective on their community. My students always say, gosh, these people work so hard and they are so committed to their organizations. And I think that's a good thing for them to see and a good thing for them to learn.
Hello, everybody. As Dr. Olson Buchanan mentioned, my name is Michaela Ford. I am the director for the Student Professional Development, and that includes internships, mentorships, student organizations, student experiences, anything that has to do with what it's like to be a student at the Craig School. I get to work with our scholarship groups and also a lot of across campus entities. So we have a really great student life at the Craig School. Even though we are considered a commuter campus, we have tons of activities and resources that get you engaged right away. And it's really nice to be around students that are like-minded, thinking about business. I'm also wearing one of our Craig School of Business jackets that you can purchase at the student store, which is a great way to get retail experience. We have students from all over in the business program in our student store. They're running our marketing, our finance, our merchandising. So it's a great way to combine what you're learning in the classroom with what you can apply in the business world. Our internship program is growing every year. Currently this semester, I have over 110 interns in the local community, and in the summertime, we usually average about 100 to 150, and they range all over the United States. So there's lots of opportunities for you to learn, and we're excited to have you part of our program.
Awesome. And then I would like to introduce our lead advisor, Catherine Kukar.
Hello, my name is Catherine Kukar. I am the lead advisor in our Craig School of Business Advising Center. I have 3 colleagues, so there's 4 of us total who work in the center, and we work every day, all year round to support students. We help from orientation, so we hope that you accept admission to Fresno State, and we would see you at orientation. We would help explain the program. We would be with you during registration. Throughout that whole process, we would be there. And then we are your group of advisors all the way until graduation. So any support that you need throughout your entire degree program, we're there for you. We help with degree planning. We help with support through classes, outside of class, and then connecting you with other resources on campus that you might need. We also work really closely with Michaela's office. We take pride in really understanding the importance of career development while going through your bachelor's degree. So we really put an emphasis on that from the start. We help students, figure out what they're interested in and then connect them with Michaela's office or the Career Development Center to get that extra support. So again, we're helping give you the best academic experience in every aspect, and we hope to see you in the fall.
Awesome. All right, so Dr. Avalos, do you want to speak briefly, or you look like you want to try the video?
No, just let me say a couple of words. Good morning, everyone. Antonio Avalos here, the Associate Dean of the school. It's a pleasure to have you here. I've been here at Fresno State for almost 17 years now, and as an economist, I can tell you that investing in your education is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. And investing in your education at Fresno State is even more important because of our region, because of who we are, and because we can do here at the Craig School of Business. Like it has been said already, we really hope that you end up choosing us. Over the past 17 years, I've seen countless really moving success stories of students like you that have achieved many of your dreams and have helped others to achieve their own dreams for yourself, for your families, for your significant.
All right, so I'm excited that we have the videos down and some questions are coming in. And you may have been able to see, I'm not sure because the screen was shared, but one question came in, and sometimes we can answer it in writing, and other times we will, depending on the number of questions, we'll answer it live. But I'd like for Michaela Ford to answer the one about VITA.
Okay, hi everybody. So a student asked about how to participate in the VITA program. We have 2 ways of participating at the Craig School. One is through just being a volunteer, and then we also offer internship academic credit for students who would like to commit to 150 hours in the volunteer experience. The first step would be to become certified. One of our faculty members at the Craig School is a IRS certification specialist, Professor Tim Baker, and he's also in charge of running our VITA program. So he does the certification here on campus, and then you just need to sign up and commit to the hours during the VITA program, which runs from February 1st to April 15th, and you're off and running. So it's a great way to get internship experience if you're looking for that, and also get some experience in working with customers while you're serving your community.
Excellent. And we had another question about how faculty work with student athletes when they have an extensive schedule, including out-of-town travel. And I will answer it, and I'll ask Dr. Avalos as well as former faculty. So the students will present us with their schedule, if you will, at the start of the semester, and we will work through that with the syllabus. It's because it's all planned in advance, and this is considered a university activity. That is something that our faculty are always work through with our students, and if there are any challenges there, then we would expand perhaps who else would be involved. But I, as a faculty, was always able to work with the students to make sure they were able to meet their course requirements and their athletic requirements. And generally, our athlete students do extremely well. They're very good planners and organizers. Yes. So it definitely pays off. Dr. Avalos, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yes, I think you hit on the key word here, which is planning. So normally in the athletics department, they have a really awesome group of advisors as well that can produce these calendars for every student, depending on the different tournaments, depending on the training schedules and other activities. And then this information is given to the faculty in advance, so that, I never had a problem, quite frankly, with any of my student athletes, because we always have a way to work things out, either giving a makeup exam when they return, or take the exam before they leave. Or I remember a few cases where there were, for example, a tournament during finals week, which complicate things a lot. Well, there are ways to accommodate for those events as well. So yeah, when we have a great tradition of student athletes here on campus, and over the years we have figured things out. So you shouldn't worry about that too much now.
All right, thank you, Dr. Avalos. And then we have a question about if there are any specific companies that the internship program works with students majoring in sports marketing.
So that's a really great question. The important thing for us to remember when talking about that is to find out exactly what you'd like to do with your business degree after you graduate. Some students who are in the sports marketing option want to work in the sports industry. Other students are doing it because sports has been a part of their life. So it's really important for us to decipher between the two. I would say that sitting down and talking about what you hope to do after you graduate would probably be the first place we would start. And then we can start looking at companies that are local within the Fresno or Merced, Visalia area. I have students placed, obviously one of our major internship sites in the fall and spring semester is Fresno State Athletics. We have a great relationship with our Fresno State Athletics department. I also have students that have been placed with the individual team coaches. They need managers, they need equipment managers. So depending upon what your area of study and business would be, we can find an outlet for you on campus. We also have Fresno Pacific University, as well as our local junior colleges, who also have very robust sports programs. Fresno Grizzlies, they're definitely one we go to in the spring and summer. And then pretty much the world is open. We have connections all over through alums, depending upon the sport area you'd like to work in, or whatever you'd like to do with your business degree. So I don't think we definitely would have a problem helping.
Excellent. We have a question here about the hatchery and the number of opportunities that there are. So our hatchery is housed in our Lyles Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And it is fixed in terms of number of offices. However, what we're trying to do is expand the opportunities with both development. So we're fundraising because this is a key way for us to help support our community in terms of economic development as well. So right now, I understand that there's room for 10 student businesses, and we are identifying ways that we could expand that. But right now there are 10, and those businesses are very diverse, and they are doing excellent work. We also had a question about how one applies for working in the student store, and I thought perhaps Dr. Avalos or Michaela could explain how that course works, or how that high impact practice works.
Well, essentially, it's a class for which you need to sign up, and I'm going to let Michaela to follow up on this because she's more familiar with the specifics of how the program runs. Michaela, can you take this?
Absolutely. So we look for students who are interested in combining work experience with an actual business. It is a class supervised for 2 semesters. Typically, we like students to start in the fall semester, but you don't necessarily have to if it doesn't work with your schedule. We do ask you to commit to 2 semesters. We do that to introduce you to the class. Your first semester, you will be part of the team where you would be more of learning the business, learning your role in the business, and you'd be supervised by students that are in their second semester of the course. When you're in the second semester, you move to more of a manager level, depending upon your area of focus. We do look for students in all areas of business. We need accounting, we need finance, and then you'd be learning specific skills related to that area that you're interested in studying. It's a really fun way to promote school spirit. You'll walk around the halls. A lot of our faculty and staff have bought items that are branded for the Craig School, and it gives us a lot of pride to be able to show that a student is actually putting together the design, contracting with the vendors, putting it into production, and then marketing it through social media and our online website. So it's a great way to get experience. And it also does for those students who may be limited to not being able to do an internship off campus. It does count as an upper division elective for those students in the options where we allow that to happen. So it's a great way to keep you close to campus, but still get a great experience.
Thank you, Michaela.
I have a question that I would like Catherine to answer. It's a question about the requirements to qualify for internship, and I know this crosses into Michaela, but I thought you might help explain the pre-business to when you would actually be eligible to have a Craig School internship, and then Michaela, if you would join in after Catherine.
Sure. So the internship program is typically geared towards juniors and seniors in the business program. So as we mentioned before, all students start as pre-business, and that's when students would focus on their lower division business classes in their freshman and sophomore year. Then once they hit junior standing, they typically start taking the business core courses. So that is oftentimes where students find out what area they want to option in. They'll take a marketing class and maybe they're really drawn to that, or management or finance. So basically what we try to do with the internship program is have students in junior standing. Ideally, they would be placed in their option already. So they would decide, I want to go into sports marketing. They'll have that declared. And we would want them to have their first marketing course complete so that they have something to offer their site location. They've had a certain amount of education in that area already and can contribute to whatever the project is. Michaela can fill in any gaps if I missed anything.
No, that sounds great. From my perspective, we'd also like you to have BA 105W completed, which is our upper division writing course. We find after talking to students that have completed the internship program that just knowing that those certain aspects of communicating in the workplace is very important, especially if you've never been involved in an office or workplace setting. So that's another course we look for. Through our office and our relationship with our Career Development Center, we help you get together a resume and practice interviewing. Our perspective on how we run our internship program, we try to mirror what a job search is like. So we don't have a typical list of internships that students are placed at. We actually make you compete against each other for positions. So we want to make sure that you're ready for that through resume reviews or other resources we have available to get you prepared. So that combined with your academics is how we get you ready to get into the internship program.
Thank you. We do have a question that also came through asking how, I assume it's how faculty respond to National Guard reservist service members if they do get activated or have their monthly drill. And again, and here anyone could answer, we honor that. So that is also considered a state sanctioned activity, and we are a state university. So that is something that there's a great deal of support for our students who are serving in that capacity, and we appreciate our students for doing that. Again, we try to anticipate that as much as possible. So it's similar to student athletes where, especially if it's a certain weekend a month, but if you are called up for other activities, then we will work with the individual students, because we want you to succeed and we want you to continue to progress in your program.
And we also have quite a few resources on campus that support our students that are either veterans or active in the military that you can participate in. But I know from my perspective that I've had some students that have been called up in the middle of their internship and absolutely no problems whatsoever putting it on hold and coming back if necessary. We also, through the career recruitment area, which I also work in, we have a lot of employers that they want to hire military, they want to hire students that are active, or if they're in the reserves, just because they know the commitment that you have to our country and providing service to the United States. So they're definitely looking for that in recruitment also. So we would definitely try and help.
Thank you. We do have another question that is asking whether accounting classes can be audited. I believe it's asking if they can be audited rather than if there are auditing accounting classes, since that means two things in accounting. And they can be. It is something that is up to the individual faculty member, and I don't know if Catherine has any experience with that. We do prioritize our registered students, so it would be, we would of course need to have room, physical room capacity, and perhaps Catherine could speak to whether that is often available or not.
Yeah, so for anyone who's wanting to audit, it doesn't happen too often, but really it mostly comes down to space available in the course, and some courses are a lot more challenging than others in that regard. So I would say it kind of depends, but when we get to the upper division option courses, so if it was something like a senior level accounting course, those are usually going to be a little easier than maybe our business core courses where every single business student is trying to get into them. There are some exceptions, of course, so it kind of depends, but I think that most of our faculty are pretty willing to allow someone to audit. They're excited about having someone who's eager to be in their class. But again, sometimes it just comes down to the amount of space that's available in the room.
All right, so now we're at a good pause for us to see our third video. We're going to call on our Associate Dean to work his technology magic one more time.
I decided to take business courses in another country because I knew that it would only benefit me in the future and that it would help me in the business world, and most importantly because I wanted to take classes in a foreign area where they spoke a different language and where the culture was different. A lot of students think that it's impossible because it's expensive, but you can work for it, and there's so many resources at Fresno State. You should take advantage of it when you are an undergraduate, and also when you could get so much financial help.
The Craig International program started about 25 years ago. Really, the main components of the Craig International program are taking classes that students are required to take that are part of the core business curriculum and taking them abroad. They're also involved in company visits, involved in cultural visits, involved in other experiences so that they are able to get more out of the travel experience.
So Craig International has started a buddy program to help incoming international students kind of get acclimated to Fresno. So we match them with a Fresno State student, and that student just serves as like their first point of contact when they come. So far, all of our students have really enjoyed the program, and they've gone on several trips together, and it's a really cool way for Fresno State students to be able to experience a different culture, but while still being in Fresno.
I heard about it when I first applied for Fresno State, and I think it's a great opportunity to meet new friends, especially when you're an exchange student, you're in a new environment, you don't know the culture, the city, the school you're going to, and then having a friend at your side, that's really helpful.
So many of the students that I met, I've gotten connected with and become really close with, and so it's just cool to have a whole network of people in another continent. And anytime I want to travel, anytime I want to do anything, it's just easy to have contacts there. Do I know who I can spend time with and can show me things.
Okay.
That is excellent. It worked again. All right, so we have a question from a student that I think is a Catherine question. A student who is interested in more than one area within business. So interested in both marketing and finances and looking for ways to participate in programs that combine these interests as much as possible.
Yes, so this is a common question that we get from a lot of students. Unfortunately, students are not allowed to double option, and the reason for that is because everyone's a business major. You have to choose one focus. If students were to have a double option, it would mean that they're double majoring in the same thing. So just clerically speaking, it's not possible. But we do have an alternative that a lot of students find acceptable in getting the best of both worlds. So we would recommend optioning in whichever area you're more drawn to, or maybe you have a stronger career interest in. Let's just say marketing, for instance. We do offer certificates through all of our departments in different areas, and that's the best way to kind of get a taste of both. So to explain a little bit about what a certificate is, it's not officially a part of the degree program. It's its own separate little entity, and it's done through the department office. So if you were interested in doing a certificate in finance, you would approach the finance department, say that you're interested. The certificates are usually around 15 units, so it might be an extra semester's worth of courses. But you literally get that certificate saying you finished the program. It's something you can put on a resume. It looks great in setting you apart from other applicants for jobs. So most students are very, very interested in doing one option, that maybe they're a little bit more drawn to, but then having a certificate in a different area. And you're allowed to do more than one certificate. So that's typically what we see a lot of our business students do, and it's very successful.
Excellent. So we did have another question about the requirements for the international program, and there are different elements to the international program. So we do have our Craig faculty-led summer school classes that are focused on the core classes for the undergraduate business degree. We also have MBA students going abroad as well. For those, the same requirements as you would to get into class normally. We are really trying to get our students to go earlier and earlier if possible, because sometimes students are in a situation where they decide they want to do a summer class, but they've taken the classes that we're offering in the summer. So it's good that you're here today to know that this is something to put on your bucket list and make sure that you do. So we try to offer the courses that are earlier in the curriculum, as well as some graduating classes, so that we can get students at the very end as well. And I don't know if there might be other requirements they're referring to. So Catherine, please feel free to jump in.
Yeah, so there's a distinction between the summer study abroad, where it's just our normal classes you would enroll in them just like anything else. So you would meet the prerequisites for those courses. That's pretty straightforward and very popular. For students who are wanting to go abroad for an entire semester or even an entire year, those students work with my office as well as Craig International, and they meet with our department chairs. And basically the student has a lot of freedom in proposing what kind of classes they want to take, and the department chair would approve those courses to count for our classes here. So it's not hugely complicated, but there is a little bit of work on the front end to make sure that the classes you're going to take abroad count here, so it doesn't disrupt your timeline for graduation. But because you get to do it that way, there's a lot of freedom in kind of choosing, do you want to take some of your sophomore level business classes? Do you want to focus on business core? Or do you want to try to take maybe some of your finance option courses? So that's kind of the beauty of studying abroad for a semester, because you have a lot more flexibility in how you approach that. And we would walk you through the process. So pretty straightforward.
if I may, let me add the following. We also have the one-to-one exchange program. And I believe that over the last few semesters, we've received more students than the ones that we have sent over. So we have a lot of opportunities for some of you that may want to really get serious about this. And you know, the way it works is that once a student, say from Germany, comes to Fresno State, all tuition paid. But then a Fresno State could go to anywhere else, not necessarily Germany, but any other of the partner schools with, you know, tuition paid too. So this is something that you know, you may want to consider as well.
Yeah, with study abroad, just a quick note, I can't remember if this is in the video or not, but for students who do study abroad for a semester, you're paying Fresno State tuition fees.
Right.
So you're not paying international student fees. So it's as affordable as possible to get students to have the international experience.
And related to that, the summer study abroad classes are actually less, we have so much financial support for them. They are less expensive than taking summer school classes here in Fresno. So I know the students commented on that in the video. It really is financially doable. And we keep those classes to 2 weeks. If you have some work demands here in the Fresno area or at home, this way you can have that global experience. And I strongly encourage you to plan for it. And we have a question asking, how does the student housing look for international students? And this, I assume this is referring to international students coming here to Fresno State, but it might be referring to international exchange. So if that student wants to follow up, we'll try to answer both.
I can answer for students who are going abroad. So our local, you know, Fresno State students who want to go abroad to Germany or Spain, wherever they're going. There are a couple options. This is something that the Craig International Office would work with the student on, but there's usually 2 options. So one would be living in the dorms at that university, and then there's meal packages included if there's a dining facility with that university, or there's some students that choose to be placed in an apartment. So those are the 2 options. I think a lot of students choose the dorms just to kind of get a little bit more immersed in that university, but there is a choice to do an apartment if that's preferred.
All right, so I'm going to read this question. We have a student who is sharing that they have a full-time job that's Monday through Friday until 5 p.m. And the student is transferring from a community college that allowed the flexibility to take classes online and late at night. Is it possible to continue this full-time job and complete the degree online or during the evening? Or do you think it's more likely I would need to prioritize my classes over my job? So we probably all have something to add, right? So it to some extent depends on your area of interest, what option you're interested in. Most of our classes, our core classes, so this is what is required of all business majors, have an evening rotation, at least an evening rotation, a face-to-face evening rotation. Many of our core classes now have an online option. So that would be the bulk of what you need for your business major. When you start identifying particular options within the business major, then that will vary considerably. So some options, for example, that require, based on the nature of the discipline, require a lot of face-to-face interaction. You're going to see fewer classes that are offered online for those. Although now with our current situation, we may have opened up the door for that possibility, so that might change. But we do have a number of students who continue to work full-time and continue to be able to get most of their classes in the evening or online. It would be important to talk with your employer about the possibility of you being available for some coursework during the day for certain courses. And that's what I've seen from a lot of students who might have negotiated a Tuesday, Thursday morning where they can come to campus or something along those lines. So flexibility is helpful in that regard, but students can get pretty far with evening and online courses as well. And if anyone, feel free to correct me.
No, I just like to add, I think everyone should think about taking a look and seeing if that full-time job is related to what you want to do after you graduate. If there isn't a correlation between the two, there might come a time where we might, especially if you came in to speak to me, where I might say, you know, prioritizing maybe a few hours to get the practical work experience through an internship might be worth the while. But I have so many, I mean, business is great. We have so many students who are in those roles, maybe as a bookkeeper, but looking to upgrade their career to a CPA. Those two align with each other really well, even if it's a full-time position. So I think there's ways to blend the two. We would just probably have to talk to you individually and make a plan individually to accommodate that.
I'd just like to follow up and open a can of worms here with mentioning the ABBA program. So it sounds like this particular person might be a really good candidate for our ABBA program. And in case no one's heard of that yet, it is our Accelerated Bachelor's of Business Administration. And that program is specifically designed to cater to people who have a full-time job already. So all of the courses are in the evening, online, or on the weekends. There's pros and cons. Usually kind of the biggest thing that students are either drawn to or turned away from is the fact that the ABBA program does not have a specific option. So it's a very generalized business degree. Rather than having specific option courses, it's an additional course of a lot of different areas. So if there was a student who was, you know, absolutely dead set on going into accountancy, or they really wanted to go into marketing, unfortunately, that's not a possibility with the ABBA program. But the strength of the ABBA program is that it's so nicely designed for people who work full-time or have families or other commitments. So that is a different program. It's a special program. So we have more information about that on our website. But we are starting cohorts for the fall. It's a cohort model. So again, I could talk a lot about that, but might be something to think about.
All right, we have a few more questions here. And I'm gonna send the first one to Michaela. Are there specific local Fresno, Clovis area companies that are offering regular internships to our human resource management students?
More than I can fill. Currently this semester, I have 16 HR interns in so many different areas. I have some in healthcare, I have some in transportation, education. So it's really about what industry you might be interested in going into, and then trying to find a match that way. But we definitely have the ability to place you. And I would also stress that HR is one of those options where if you're seriously considering it, you definitely do not want to graduate without practical HR experience. And even if that just means a 6-month internship, that's enough. That it's a very competitive market, especially here in the Central Valley. So make sure that's part of your academic plan.
Excellent. And for Catherine, a question about how early can they select their option because they are excited and want to claim it?
Yes, for sure. So for someone who's coming in as a freshman, they would select their option as soon as those pre-business courses are complete. So a lot of students ask, you know, do I have to have it declared by the end of my sophomore year or by the end of my junior year? There's no timeline that you have to. But the soonest you can do it is when you finish the pre-business courses. There are 8 of them, and they're all courses that can be completed in the freshman and sophomore year. So ideally, we would have students prioritize those classes, and by the end of their sophomore year, when they're complete, that's when they would declare an option. Although it doesn't have to be, we have plenty of students in their junior year that declare. So that's for students coming in as freshmen. For students coming in as a transfer student, oftentimes they have all of those courses complete already from the community college. They would declare their option at orientation if they wanted, or if they needed more time and they wanted to take some of the core courses to help them decide, they could do that and then maybe declare in their first semester or second semester. So in short, there's no timeline that it's required. We just hope students would do it as soon as their pre-business courses are complete because it helps move things along smoother.
Excellent. And then we have another question about job shadowing and really helping students identify what major they should choose or what option they should choose. what resources might be available to our students.
So I think this is a great segue into mentioning Catherine and I team teach a course called CSB 50, which we encourage anyone who's a first semester transfer or first semester freshman to take. We built the course around exposing you to all the resources that we have available from the professional or career development side, and also in Catherine's side from the academic advising. So we do go over doing assessments on areas of interest. We go over all of the health resources we have on campus, along with getting you to really understand who you are and who you want to be after you leave here, and putting together the pieces and creating a plan for you to use as you're here. So I encourage all of you to sign up when you come for Dog Days, because I'm assuming with this great presentation we did, you're going to want to come to Fresno State and the Craig School and sign up for the CSB 50 class. We have a great time, and it's a great way to meet other like-minded business students.
Excellent. So we are at the end of our time, and I know our students have been very busy, or our future students have been very busy with this online experience, but we want to emphasize again that we want you here in the fall to join us as you are the future business leaders of tomorrow. And I think you will find that this is a welcoming place, it's an inclusive place, and you will be very well prepared after you leave the Craig School of Business. So enjoy the rest of your preview day. We look forward to seeing you in the fall.